Hi folks, this is Mr. Lassard bringing you another distance learning assignment for the Science and Humanities curriculum. This assignment is about gerrymandering. And in this lesson, we are going to conduct an investigation into gerrymandering to analyze and redraw the districts for a hypothetical state. We're going to evaluate the impact of gerrymandering on the results of any election. And so, before you begin on this assignment, you should definitely watch this video that I've posted at the top here, which is a clip from the show Adam Ruins Everything, where he discusses in depth the impact of gerrymandering and how it could work. And you're going to do something similar in this assignment. So anyways, let's first talk about this word gerrymandering. It actually comes from the word salamander, and gerry refers to a person. So this person was responsible for redrawing the districts in his state, and one of the districts became so rigged and intentionally drawn that it started to look like a salamander with a tail, a head, and legs on either side, which is not really the way that anyone would have expected districts to be drawn in a fair way. And so if we just put a grid on a state, you could make districts, but that doesn't necessarily happen. Most of these districts are drawn intentionally to favor one party or another. And so every few years, these districts can be redrawn by the people who have been elected. And so sometimes this creates disenfranchisement of votes. As we can see through this assignment, you have a map of a hypothetical state that has voters who are registered. Because voters don't necessarily move all the time, because people pretty much stay having similar political opinions, politicians can look at this map and they can try to rig the districts to get themselves the most votes. And that's actually what happens. And so what we're hopefully going to learn from this is that there is a huge impact on certain types of voters that can sort of break down these rigged districts. First of all, these dots on this map are all registered voters. These are people who have voted historically and will probably vote the same way again. But every year of an election, there are new people who are eligible to vote. There are people who are newly 18, and then there are people who have never voted before and register for the first time. Those people have a huge impact on elections, and that is why it is so important to get people who have historically been disenfranchised to register to vote. Not only will they possibly swing an election in the favor of the party that they choose, but they will throw off these rigged districts no matter which party is in power and trying to disenfranchise their vote. So as we go through this assignment, you are going to basically count up the votes and calculate some percentages. I've given you a little detail about how to find percentages, as that is a big part of this assignment. As you go through this, you're going to think, okay, this is the state, and this is the breakdown of how many people are registered for this party and how many people are registered for this party. And I want you to think about every time you see these districts drawn, is this a fair representation of the population of this state, right? If half the population is blue and half the population is red, then you would expect to see half of the districts going to blue and half of the districts going to red. Does that happen? That's kind of what we're looking to see. And so there's a number of districts drawn in here, and you're going to figure out how many districts would have been won, what percentage of the districts were won, and then you're going to make an evaluation about whether or not you think that it was fair. Were these lines drawn to rig the election? Did we get a fair result? Or were they not a fair result? And so the first two, there's 9 districts. And then I move on to a few different maps, and we can see as we get along, we're starting to get a little bit more creative with the shapes. We can even see that in this map, we've drawn a really intentional shape to include this blue voter where we excluded this red voter and this blue voter. So why would we do that? What impact does it have on the election? That's the type of question we're trying to answer here today. Finally, you are going to be trying to rig your own elections here. So I've given you two maps, and I want you to try to create 5 districts that rig the election in favor of the red party, and then do the opposite, rigging it in favor of the blue party. Can you see possible impacts of how this is a bad process? And can you also see the huge importance of registering new voters and letting your voice be heard, especially if it hasn't been? So I hope this was a helpful process for helping you understand what gerrymandering is. Don't forget that when you're doing this, you can use the draw feature here to draw in those lines, something like this. Okay, hopefully that was helpful, and I will see you all next week for another assignment. Thank you.